We're joined today on Right to Life Radio by Emily Berning. She is with the wonderful pro-life organization called Let Them Live, which we've discovered, and well, we haven't discovered it. We found it. We're like Christopher Columbus discovering the new world. We came across it, and we thought this was such a wonderful ministry, and we just sort of wanted to highlight it. So, Emily, welcome to Right to Life Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so Emily and I have an Indiana connection. She's originally from Fort Wayne, though she's moving to Florida and moving all the operations down there. And I'm a Notre Dame grad, so I've been reminiscing about, for those of us in pro-choice California, what it's like to live in the land of the free. Anyway, that's our bonding. So, Emily, why don't you give first the elevator pitch for Let Them Live? What is the organization? What does it do? Give the 10,000-foot view.
I got you here. Yeah, I mean, simply put, just the best way to explain Let Them Live is that we provide financial assistance to women in crisis pregnancies so they can cancel their abortions. 73% of women in the United States have abortions because of financial burden. Mm-hmm. So we fundraise money and take that financial burden off of them, help them, relieve those concerns, and then help them cancel their abortions. Simply put, in a nutshell, that is what we do. It's a little bit more complicated than that when you get down to the nitty gritty, but really just providing the financial support women need to confidently choose life.
Mm-hmm. So looking at the website, I was like, oh, this is kind of like GoFundMe, but for pro-lifers. So maybe tell us a little bit about the genesis of the idea. Was it purely like you guys saw GoFundMe and were like, hey, we should do this, but for pro-life, cause? or maybe you guys had the idea first. I guess what's the chicken or the egg? But how did it come about?
It's a pretty cool story. Just to give you a brief background, I grew up pro-life, and then I went to college and I was going to be a veterinarian and I studied biology. And then somewhere around my junior year, I just decided I wanted to do pro-life activism and abandon everything that I thought I would do. So I've always been pro-life. That kind of became my thing. I became known as Pro-Life Emily.
A very financially savvy decision on your part. So
yeah, I called my parents and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a pro-life activist. And they're like, what? What are you doing? So I'm Pro-Life Emily. I meet Nathan. We met just after I graduated college, and he's actually pro-choice or apathetically,
Sure.
pro-life-ish, somewhere in there. And he just sees my passion. So he's like, you should start a pro-life nonprofit. And I was like, what? How do you even do that? And so we did all the paperwork and stuff like that, but I didn't know what our mission was going to be. We didn't know, how are we going to be different from other organizations that currently exist? And it's funny because Nathan would constantly tell me, this is your thing. I'm just helping you with it, but this is not what I want to do for my life. This is not what I'm doing. And so
famous last words.
Yeah, no, literally though, that's exactly what happened. So fast forward 2 months after Nathan and I got married, he was on Facebook and saw a post in a pro-life group. And there was a girl commenting saying, my cousin has an abortion scheduled for Monday. I don't know what to do. Can anyone just give me advice? So Nathan, it's 3 a.m. So I'm sleeping. He's up. He messages this girl and is trying to figure out what's going on. Why is she having an abortion? That was the key question that he asked. What is making her feel like this is what she has to do? And it turns out that she was evicted. She lost her job. It was December, so it was really cold where she was, and she was living in her car. And he just was like, this is totally unacceptable. There's just no way that this is okay. So a lot of back and forth. And, finally we figure out that what she really needs is financial support. So Nathan, I always like to joke that his heart is bigger than his brain. But he just kind of goes with things. He offered her everything we had. I mean, we were just married. We didn't have a lot of money. And what she needed was pretty much everything we had in our bank account. And it was like $1,100.
Mhm.
And so he sent her that money. We got her back into her apartment, and she canceled her abortion and sent us an ultrasound. And from there, that's when the light bulb kind of went off that, whoa, if she's struggling with this, like maybe there's other women
In the
that
same.
are having abortions because of financial burden. And that led us to research and find that that's actually a majority of women.
Mhm.
And then we were like, well, we don't have any more money, so we can't keep doing this, but maybe we could convince other people to, contribute and see the need.
Mhm.
And the rest is history.
Wow. Well, that's pretty amazing. So it started from that idea, and when you go to let them live, you see it's many more than one person at this point. So how many people has the organization helped, and what's kind of your status right now as far as providing resources for women in need?
Yeah, we actually just saved our 600th baby from
Holy cow.
abortion. So, and we became a nonprofit. Like officially, we got our paperwork about 4 years ago in March of 2019. So
Mhm.
that has been, and all those moms are so different in the type of support they get. But we're talking about, I mean, housing is like some of the biggest bills that we're paying.
Mhm.
They have a wide variety of bills we're paying, but we're providing not only the financial support, but the emotional support, financial literacy classes, budgeting, saving,
Mhm.
life coaching, partnering with pregnancy centers and sidewalk advocates across the United States. Even though we did start Let Them Live in Indiana, we help women all over the United States, and a lot in California too, just because of the cost of things.
Mhm. Well, it's so interesting. So our organization has a building next to Planned Parenthood, and we have a pretty active sidewalk ministry that goes on kind of year round. We started out doing like 40 Days for Life, and then we expanded into something bigger. And the women that we're interacting with, like the common theme is sort of like security factors. How many security factors do you have in your life? And whether it's a supportive partner, supportive family, and finances are always, one of the single biggest things. And it's sort of, I mean, from your experience, I've found that so many of these women, they're not having abortion in like the happy, skipping throes of freedom and choice. It's really, it's the only choice that they think is available to them. And is that kind of the experience more and more that you're seeing, is that
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a kind of cruel charity to abort. Oh, these women need abortion. Well, do they,
Yes.
is abortion actually the thing that they need?
Exactly. That's really what we try to get to the center of. Like, what is the reason behind it? Because women don't just wake up one day and be like, I want an abortion. And if there is anybody that's saying that, I know there are some women that have had abortions and they're abortion activists. Like, that's an absolute lie. Like, you don't just wake up and just say, oh, I loved it, it was great, it was just like going to,
It's never an A1 choice. I mean, obviously
yeah,
mistakes have happened,
no.
yeah, if yeah.
Right, exactly. Women are feeling pressured into it. And this is the biggest thing that we're trying to draw attention to, is a lot of people are against coerced abortions, but in reality, if there's anything that is pressuring a woman to have an abortion, that's a coerced abortion. If the financial piece, or maybe her boyfriend or her husband is, pressuring her, that's a coerced abortion. And if there's any reason behind that abortion, we have an opportunity to try to address those issues and solve those problems, or at least like provide some relief.
Mhm. Yeah, well, and that's what I mean. We've tried to do this sort of locally, but I'm kind of amazed at how you were able to do this nationally. So how have you been able to identify women in need, or is there a identify women in need? Is there a screening that you kind of have to do to a certain extent? Like, so maybe explain a little bit more about the process of sort of,
Yeah.
obviously some kind of screening to make sure you're not getting defrauded or
Right.
something,
Right.
but
We're not just it's not like an
yeah,
Oprah Winfrey
yeah,
thing, like you get cash, you
you
get
get
cash.
cash, you get cash. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
explain the process.
Yeah. So, the first thing I'll say too is let them live is a little bit different. And we've kind of created a different type of system than the pro-life movement is used to. When it comes to direct support for women in crisis pregnancies, the standard model has been and is pregnancy centers. So a
Right.
lot of people are like, how, like, I don't understand. You don't have an actual office. Like, what do you mean?
Hmm.
But that's where the power of social media comes in.
Okay.
So let them live. We have a lot of followers on social media, and the reason we have grown so quickly is because of the power of social media. And so that is one of the major ways that we're able to connect with women. Um, you know, I mean, it could be anything from, someone makes a post on Facebook and someone who's pregnant sees it,
Hmm.
or, we end up on the explore page of Instagram and a woman just happens to see that we provide support.
Sure.
And that's how we've connected with our donors as well as partner pregnancy centers, which kind of leads me into like our verification process.
Hmm.
So when a woman reaches out, sometimes it is through a referral directly from a pregnancy center. So they may not have the financial, they may not have the budget to provide the finances that this mom needs to choose life.
Sure.
So we kind of come in and just work with them to make it happen. And so in that case, we obviously have an ultrasound from them. We have verification of pregnancy. If a
Right.
woman comes to us directly, either on our social media or online through our form or calls or texts or hotline, we then refer her to a partner pregnancy center that's in her area. And if we don't already have a partner, that's a great way to create a partnership.
Yeah.
So we want that pregnancy verification. That's like step number one. We also ask for their state issued IDs just so we can make sure that we know who it is.
Mhm.
And then, we also have calls with our pregnancy counselors. So either like a Zoom call or, a phone call just to hear about the situation, what's going on.
Mhm.
And then we have when a woman is determined that she is like eligible for our financial support, then we create a financial plan for her. And that not only lays out, what bills we're going to help with, how long, how much, it also kind of like gives her an opportunity to put some skin in the game. So there's
Mhm.
contingencies, there's an agreement that, okay, we're helping you and it's to help you choose life. And, you by accepting this support are going to choose life and you're going to get a job or you're, that type of thing. So it's
Yeah.
really trying to meet them halfway and just
Yeah.
help them get better.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of our verification process. We do like background checks, all that stuff, just to make sure we have all of our, we want to make sure our donor money is spent wisely and
Sure.
taken care of. And yeah, that's a little bit of our process. Yeah.
So for people uh to support the women in need, is it mostly being done as far as donors